In today's video, we are going to focus on IELTS Speaking Part 3, which is the most difficult part of the speaking test for many students. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt confident in Part 1 and Part 2, but when Part 3 starts, you suddenly don't know what to say? Maybe your answers become very short, maybe you get confused, or maybe you just repeat the same ideas again and again. So, if that sounds like you, don't worry, this is very common. In this video, I'm going to show you a simple method to answer Part 3 questions clearly and confidently. And the best part is, you don't need advanced English, you just need a clear structure. Part 3 feels like difficult because the type of questions changes. In Part 1, you talk about yourself. In Part 2, you describe a topic. But in Part 3, you talk about ideas, opinions, and society. For example, instead of saying, I like traveling, you might be asked, why do people travel more nowadays? Now, this is not about you, it's about people in general. So, you need to think more deeply. And this is where many students struggle. But once you learn a simple structure, everything becomes easier. In Part 3, the examiner will ask follow-up questions related to your Part 2 topic. These questions are more general and more abstract. You need to give longer answers, usually around 3 to 5 sentences. But here's something very important. The examiner is not checking how many difficult words you know. They are checking how clearly you explain your ideas, how logically you answer, and how naturally you speak. So, your goal is not perfection. Your goal is clarity. Now, let's look at some common mistakes as well. The first mistake is giving very short answers. For example, yes, I agree. This is correct, but not enough. The second mistake is not explaining your answer. Students say what they think, but they don't explain why. The third mistake is repeating basic words like very good, very nice, and very big. Instead, you should focus on explaining your ideas more clearly. Let me show you how to fix this. Here is the most important rule for Part 3. Answer, explain, and example. First, answer the question directly, then explain your reason. After that, give an example. Let me give you a quick example. Question. Is exercise important? Answer. Yes, I think exercise is very important because it helps people stay healthy. For example, people who exercise regularly feel more energetic. Now, compare this with a short answer. Yes, exercise is important. You can clearly see the difference. Now, you can make your answer even stronger by adding more ideas. For example, you can say another reason is or in addition, so your answer becomes longer and more natural. For example, yes, exercise is important because it improves health. In addition, it also helps reduce stress. For example, many people go to the gym after work to relax. Now you have a complete answer. Now, let's look at a real question. Do people travel more nowadays? Before answering, take a moment to think. What are possible reasons? Maybe cheaper flights, social media influence, or more free time. Always take 1 to 2 seconds before speaking. For this question, you can think about cost, technology, lifestyle, as I already explained. A weak answer would be yes, people travel more. This answer is correct, but it's too short. There is no explanation and no example, so the score will stay low. Now, listen to this strong answer. Yes, I believe people travel more nowadays because transportation has become more affordable and convenient. In addition, social media encourages people to explore new places. For example, many people decide to travel after seeing photos and videos online. Now, this answer is much better because it is longer and more detailed. Here, I have also mentioned an example saying budget airlines and online booking systems make it easier for people to travel internationally. This answer works because it gives a clear opinion, it explains the reason, it adds another idea, and it gives an example as well. This is exactly what examiners want to hear. Now, let's try another question. Is traveling important for young people? Think about ideas like learning, experience, independence. Okay, so you have 5 seconds to think about an answer to this. So let's look at a strong answer. Yes, I think traveling is very important for young people because it allows them to experience different cultures and broaden their perspective. In addition, it makes them more independent. For instance, students who travel abroad often become more independent and confident. Now, let's practice together. This is the most important part of the video. I want you to try answering the questions yourself. Don't worry about mistakes, just try. Question number 1 is, do people spend too much time on smartphones? Pause the video now and try your answer. Okay, so here's a good answer. Yes, I believe people spend too much time on smartphones because they are highly addictive and easily accessible. Many people use their phones for entertainment, such as social media or games, which takes up a lot of their time. For example, it is very common to see people checking their phones repeatedly, even when they are with friends or family. Here's practice question 2. Now, try this. Should governments invest more in public transport? Pause and answer. Yes, I think governments should invest more in public transport because it helps reduce traffic congestion and pollution. If more people use buses and trains, there will be fewer cars on the road. For example, cities with strong public transport systems often have better air quality. Let's improve your vocabulary for part 3. But remember, this is very important. You don't need very difficult words. You just need useful and natural vocabulary that you can use easily while speaking. Let's look at some examples. First, the word affordable. This means something is not very expensive. For example, you can say travel has become more affordable in recent years. Next, accessible. This means something is easy to use or easy to reach. For example, public transport is more accessible in big cities. Now, independent. This means someone can do things by themselves. You can say something like, travel helps young people become more independent. Another useful word is open-minded. This means you are willing to accept new ideas. For example, people who travel often become more open-minded. And finally, perspective. This means your way of thinking or how you see the world. You can say something like, travel helps people gain a new perspective. Now, here's the key tip. Don't just memorize these words. Try to use them in your own answers when you practice. That's how your vocabulary improves naturally. Now, let's talk about what you should avoid in part 3. These are very common mistakes that can reduce your score. First, avoid giving one-line answers. For example, yes, I think so. This is too short and it doesn't show your ability either. Second, avoid not giving explanations. If you only give your opinion but don't explain it, your answer feels incomplete. Always ask yourself why. Third, avoid repeating the same ideas again and again. For example, saying it is very good, very nice, very useful. And always try to add some examples as well. This sounds so, if you just say it is very good, very nice, or very useful, this sounds basic and doesn't show range. And finally, avoid overcomplicating your language. Some students try to use very difficult words, but they make mistakes. Simple and clear is always better. So remember, don't be perfect, just be clear. Now, here's my final advice for IELTS Speaking Part 3. Always try to speak in at least 3 to 5 sentences. If your answer feels too short, don't stop. Instead, continue by adding another reason is, in addition, for example, and so on. These simple phrases help you extend your answer naturally. Also, don't panic if you don't have a perfect idea. It's completely okay to give a simple answer. What matters is how you explain it. And remember, fluency is more important than perfection. So, keep speaking, keep explaining, and stay calm. The more you practice the structure, the easier it will become. So, this is it. If you found this video helpful, subscribe to AceIELTS. I'll help you improve step by step. Keep practicing and I'll see you in the next video.